Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the MadCap. I'm Jasmine Pazzano.
And I'm Greg DeClara. On today's zany episode...
What a rookie. One NYU freshman finds himself wedged in a tight space for days.
Kids say the darndest things. Listen to some of their reactions after seeing a video of gay marriage proposals.
An animal on the loose. Learn how one llama got the ride of a lifetime.
See how one blog is urging you to text Mayor Rob Ford.
And Ryersonian reporter Sarah Warren joins us today to talk about the unexpected guests who showed up to the Rob Ford rally yesterday. But first... Have you ever woken up one morning after a night out and thought, how did I get here? This is the question a student from NYU asked himself after he woke up wedged between two buildings on Monday. Fire officials say they found the undergrad trapped in a space that is less than half a meter wide. The only way to get into the gap appeared to be from the roofs of the two buildings. Asher Vongtao was trapped in the space for up to 2 days. This is also how long one of his friends had been telling officials to look for him near the roofs. Here's what his friend told CNN.
There's zero chance that they would have gone on that roof anytime yesterday had we not told them to do that. And it was 30-something degrees last night, and it would be going on 48 hours with him back there with injuries.
A Yahoo article says along with tips from Vongtao's friends, campus police found the student by tracing where he used his ID card for entry. Fire officials had to drill through a cinder block wall to help the 19-year-old out of the space. After an hour and a half, they freed Vongtao. He was then taken to hospital in critical condition. He still doesn't know how he ended up in the crevice. Greg, I'm torn about this story. On one hand, if I were campus police and some freshman was telling me his friend was stuck between two buildings, I wouldn't believe them, ever. On the other hand, I would be so frustrated if I was Vongtao's friends because they told the cops for 2 days to look for his friend there.
Jasmine, I know from personal experience we've had some crazy nights together, but I don't think it's really been to this extent. I mean, when you're a freshman, you're on your own trying to have fun. But you really have to be careful. I mean, how did he end up between two buildings like this? But I think one thing's for sure, I don't think it's going to happen again to this guy. I think he's going to be a lot more careful.
Lesson learned, for sure.
Our next story is a YouTube video that is spreading around the interweb showing children aged 5 to 13 giving their views on same-sex marriage. Each one is shown 2 viral wedding videos and asks some questions. Here's a little clip.
That was so adorable.
All of these videos are just too cute.
Well, this is new.
That's what I want to see a lot. Gay and lesbian people shouldn't be hiding.
Wait, what was that about? Justin Bieber married a guy?
It wasn't Justin Bieber.
Oh.
2 marriage proposals, both with songs.
I was like in awe of them. Boy and a boy together and a girl and a girl. There's a guy proposing to a guy. That's just crazy. And then there was a girl proposing to a girl. That's just crazy.
Now, these reactions are really something good to hear because, I mean, for the most part, these kids are very accepting. And it's fun to see kind of the innocence that young children have for this kind of topic. One thing that does stand out is there was one child that kind of goes against the pack and isn't really sure if he likes the idea of gay marriage. And when the interview asks why, the child doesn't really know. He doesn't really have a good answer for why he feels that way. And I think this is a great kind of foreshadowing for the greater public because I think a lot of people don't know really why they don't like it as well.
Gay is bad for you.
Why do you think that is bad?
Because, I don't know.
If I were a kid, part of this experiment, I think I would be similar to what most of the kids said. You know, this is cute, this is romantic, because my parents always had gay friends. They never sat me down and said, okay, Jasmine, there are straight people and there are gay people. So I would probably just see it as any other wedding proposal.
With kids that are slightly older, our next story comes out of France with a story from The Independent. A group of teenagers were having a rambunctious night out of drinking when they wandered into a closed circus. Not in the best of mind frames, the 5 inebriated Frenchmen tried to take a zebra home. But after some resistance from the guy in the stripes, the crew settled on a llama named Serge. They then proceeded to take the animal on a ride of the local transit system while taking several pictures and videos. The teens were eventually kicked off the train and left Serge tied to a post. I'm not sure how this happened, but police are not pressing charges. Now, for all you guys out there worrying, Serge is A-okay.
I do believe it's Serge, Greg. Serge.
Gotta put that Asante Gu on there.
That's right. If I saw a llama on the subway, Greg, I would freak out. I would leave the subway right away. These things are huge. I'm 5'1". Llamas are typically 5'7", and in such a tight space, I don't think I'd be all right being near an animal that towers over me. Rob Ford. Rob Ford. Rob Ford. Our mayor's crack cocaine scandal has made him the most talked about man in the city. For months, Ford denied he smoked crack, but on Tuesday, the mayor uttered the words everyone had been waiting to hear.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
A new blog is asking people to text the mayor what they think about him. The Tumblr blog is called Text to Rob Ford. His number is open to the public, and many people within the city have no problem telling Ford how they feel. Let's take a look at some of the submissions. One person texted him, quote, "You are no longer fit to be mayor. Even my most right-wing, essentially Tea Party Canada friend says you must resign. So do it. Resign for yourself, for your family, and most of all, for the city of Toronto." End quote. Here's another. Quote, "Canadians who have made international headlines: Justin Bieber, Paul Bernardo, Conrad Black, Robert Pickton, Rob Ford. Good job disgracing my hometown, buddy." End quote. We still don't know if the mayor has replied to any of these messages, or if this number is still in service. But you too can contribute to the site. Bobby's digits are 416-397-FORD. Text him and post a screen grab on any social media site. Then submit it to texttorobford.tumblr.com. Don't forget to add the hashtag texttorobford. To be honest, I expected a few people to sympathize with him. Maybe a few people did, but the site didn't showcase these texts. I would like to see a few of these texts because I do know a few people who think the media have been too hard on Ford.
You know, Jasmine, at the end of the day, the likelihood that Rob's going to see these texts is very small. I mean, he's the guy that always tries to avoid the media, avoids questions. But I think, you know, it's still a cool concept because people really kind of feel that they get to voice their opinion. And the fact that it's his personal number, I think that it really kind of helps people kind of voice their displeasure, because I think a lot of people are really upset with the mayor right now. So, we want to know what you think of our lovely mayor. Tweet us at the MadCapTO and give us your thoughts.
For some Torontonians, texting may be a bit too passive. A group called Save Toronto held a rally at City Hall yesterday, urging the mayor to step down and end his term. The rally landed on a very special day for grade 9 students, Take Your Kids to Work Day. Reporters were not shy about bringing their kids to the chaos at City Hall yesterday. Sarah Warren joins us now to give us the kitty scoop. Sarah, take us to the City Hall scene.
Well, it was pretty interesting yesterday. Me and the other reporter, Haley Brower, part of Ryersonian, she was there with me in the media scrum. We were waiting for about an hour. We were joined by every big media outlet you can think of in Toronto: CBC, City TV, Global, Sun News was there. We were all waiting for Rob Ford to show up for a very long time. He ended up not coming up through the elevator. He slipped through the back, so very few media outlets actually got a shot of him. But what was most interesting was the fact that, yes, it was Take Your Kid to Work Day. So it was just a bit of an odd scene. One of the reporters from City TV had her daughter right there up front in the media scrum holding the City TV mic.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, it's a great experience for kids, but at 14, you kind of have to have some discretion because the issue is crack cocaine. So it's a little, I don't know.
It kind of goes along with the circus, kind of what's going down there.
It does.
It's like, of course, it's Take Your Kid to Work Day.
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of funny how the timing works out, right? But, I mean, there were easily, I saw 13, 14 kids come up that elevator. And every time the elevator came up, we kept thinking it was Rob Ford. The doors would open, and who comes out? Like a parent with their child.
That's so funny.
So it was really funny because all the cameras would get their lights up, everyone would start recording, and everyone was waiting and anticipating, and then it's just a 14-year-old kid.
I think that in grade 9, I was an aspiring reporter, and I would love to be brought to this. Like, this is the most exciting story of the year.
Oh, it definitely is the biggest thing to hit Toronto. But at the same time, too, I don't know if any of these children are aspiring reporters, right? So a lot of them might have been intimidated, for sure. The one daughter of the City TV reporter, she looked a little intimidated sitting there in the front of the media scrum. But it's a hectic scene, too, even for a fourth-year journalism student.
I was going to say, even I would be intimidated.
Even for me and Haley, when we got there, we were like, all right, let's get up front. But it was still quite intimidating. And one of the video guys from Global who was standing next to us, he was saying, you've got to stand your ground in a media scrum like that, because it's huge. Everyone wants the coverage, right?
So I understand that outside of City Hall, reporters weren't the only people who brought their kids along.
This is true. So the rally, Save Toronto, is taking place right outside of City Hall at 12 o'clock. It turned out to be really, really big. There were probably at least between 200 and 300 people there. People of all ages. You could tell people of different classes and everything. But again, it was interesting. People having their kids with them there. I saw a couple parents with kids. I interviewed one mother who had her baby slung around her, probably no more than a 5-month-old, and she was holding a sign that says, what is crack cocaine, mommy? And I talked to her, and she was saying, luckily her daughter is young enough that she doesn't have to explain what crack cocaine is. But if her daughter had been a bit older, how does one go about explaining that to their child? So, I mean, that's the issue, I think, and that's why a lot of parents are outraged about this, because what do they explain to their children? And this is our mayor, and he's supposed to be a role model, and he's clearly not living up to a standard right now.
Like, what would you guys tell your children if this kind of happened?
I don't even know.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, right? Well, that's the thing. We preach to children, drugs are bad. And how do you explain that the mayor of the city, who is supposed to be fighting the war against drugs and everything like that he has tried crack cocaine and he's an alcoholic, probably, I mean, is the speculation. So it's just a very odd situation. I honestly don't know how I would even think about explaining that.
I think that along with explaining what crack is, I would also explain what a politician is, and is a regular person who, wants to try new things too, just like you, 14-year-old child,
Well, that's true, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone wants to experiment and stuff like that, but when you are a public figure, you are held to a higher standard, and that's the difference between politicians and musicians, actors, right? That's why they're always in the media, because they're supposed to be public figures, whereas the average person isn't. So I think that's why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, fair or not fair, I mean, people make mistakes, but when you're in that kind of position, you are held to a different standard, whether you like it or not. And he, had to accept that if he wanted to be in this role.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Even if now people are speculating, right, because he's always in the media for being drunk at certain events, that kind of thing. But so even crack cocaine aside, alcohol, if he's an alcoholic, can he even perform his job properly, right? If he's, say, getting drunk 5 nights a week. We don't know. I'm not saying he does, but you never know.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming in.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You can catch Sarah's story on Ryersonian.ca and in the paper on newsstands now.
Just a reminder, you can check the links below our podcast for more info about the stories we mentioned today. That's it for this week's installment of the MadCap. We leave you now with DJ Steve Porter's Rob Ford Crack Remix. I'm Greg DeClara.
And I'm Jasmine Pazzano.
Your mayor will have smoked crack. It is what it is, and I can't change the past. Am I an addict? No. Have I tried crack? Yes. It's my mistake. I know I have no crack left. I know doing crack was wrong. Rob Ford. Folks, I'll do anything for more. Drunken stupors, alcohol. Rob Ford. It's a fact. I smoke crack. I don't recall. I wanna be high and smoke now. And I want.